Hello, welcome to Nitro 9's Am I the Antagonist series, where I take a selection of posts from Reddit's AITA subreddit and decide whether or not OP is the antagonist. Before we start, just a couple of disclaimers. 1. I will not always read the stories word for word. No swearing, no graphic content, no excessive nastiness. Got to keep things safe for everyone. 2. My opinion means nothing. I'm just a nosy Parker who knows nothing about anything. 3. I am not a doctor, therapist, marriage/family counsellor, or involved in any of these situations. I'm just a big idiot. So without further ado, let's start the show! Hello, welcome to the first episode of my AITA series. I'm getting a little piece of the Reddit pie. My keen-eyed viewers will notice that Am I the Antagonist isn't the actual name of the subreddit, but the subreddit name contains a naughty word, and my channel is now naughty word free. I'm not monetized, I'm too small for that, but just sort of general human decency anyway, I'm not going to be saying those words, so I may have to do some creative censorship. Our first story. Am I the antagonist for telling a lady that the dog park isn't a petting zoo? By Angry Dog Lady. I've lurked on this sub for so long now, and I have something to post, finally. Not as dramatic as some others, but I'd still like some feedback. I have a very small dog. She's a rescued teacup chihuahua, who, along with some birth defects due to her unfortunate family tree, is also very fearful of children, as a lot of tiny dogs tend to be. Because of this, she can come off as aggressive when kids get too close. It's not usually a problem, and parents usually understand when I explain why their kid can't play with my dog. My dog is okay with other dogs, of all sizes. She grew up with labs, so she knows how to handle herself. Regardless, when she's at the dog park, I never take my eyes off her. The dog park we go to is great for her because it's big enough to where she can run around with bigger dogs, but still has room to keep her distance and move away if she needs to. There's also a fenced off small dog area, but we rarely use it as there's usually no one in there. We've been going to this dog park for years with no issues. Recently, a lady came in with her 2 daughters, about 5 and maybe 3. I didn't mind her at first. She said she was new to the neighbourhood and her girls just wanted to meet the dogs. When they approached mine, I explained to the kids that they couldn't play with my dog. The problem is, it's been about a month now, and almost every single time I've been there, she's there too. I have to explain to her kids every time that they can't touch my dog, sometimes multiple times. Eventually, I talked to the mum about it. She gave me a weird look and said, "Look, they're all fine playing together. It's good for your dog to learn to be around kids anyway." I briefly explained to her that that's not how that works, but rather than make it an issue, I took my dog home. The last straw was the last time I was at the dog park. The older girl hopped the fence and fell right on top of another smaller dog. Oof. Which, to their credit, they did apologise to the owner for. Not 5 minutes later, I see the 2 girls corner and taunt my dog, who's growling and barking at them, clearly terrified. The mum sees this too, and rushes over, telling me to calm my dog down, and that if my dog is aggressive, I should keep it in the fenced area, even though the area is for small dogs, not aggressive ones. Who would even bring an aggressive dog to a dog park? I snapped. Does she have short-term memory loss? I had already told her and her kids to leave my dog alone. So, I let her know all of this, and ended up reminding her that the dog park isn't a petting zoo. It's specifically so dogs can play freely. If the kids are preventing even one dog from doing so, they shouldn't be there. There's plenty of other, probably safer places for her to take her kids. Again, I took my dog and left, but not before she called me a... How am I going to creatively censor this word? She called me a big smelly meanie in front of her kids. Am I the antagonist? My verdict is not the antagonist. When I was a small child, dog etiquette was part of stranger danger. 3 golden rules: don't talk to strangers, don't go to unfamiliar places, and don't touch unfamiliar dogs. I was taught that at school, that mother should be teaching her children better dog park etiquette, and the mother isn't setting a good example by calling a random member of the public a big smelly meanie. so that's not nice. The OP is like perfectly justified in this. They're not the antagonist, and dog parks should be safe places for dogs to play. I can imagine, like, these children are lucky this was a Chihuahua. If this was like any bigger dog and they were cornering it and taunting it, or jumping over fences and landing on it, they probably would have been mauled by now. I'm gonna have to find some better creative censorship words eventually though, because replacing the female dog word, you know, the naughty word I'm talking about, with big smelly meanie just sort of sounds weird and childish. Final verdict. Angry dog lady, you are not the antagonist. So let's move on to our next story. Our next story is Am I the Antagonist for Telling My 12-year-old Niece That I Don't Believe in God by Bender750. The other day, I was at my sister's house helping my brother-in-law build a deck. We all get along great, and while they are religious and believe in God, I don't at all. We all know this, and it doesn't affect our relationship in the slightest, nor has it ever been a problem. Well, I guess they have been teaching their 12-year-old daughter, my niece, about religion, and she kind of cornered me with a question. I went in the house to refill my water bowl, and she said, "Hey, Uncle Bender750, you believe in God, right?" Without really thinking about it, I said, "No, I don't," which immediately made her visibly confused. I then said, "But it's okay to believe, and I don't judge others for their beliefs, I just don't personally believe." She then said, "Oh, you're weird," and walked away. That was the full extent of the conversation. Next thing I know, she's telling her mum, my sister, that I told her that I don't believe in God, and my sister seemed irritated about it. I talked to my sister and told her that she asked me a specific question, and I answered as honestly as I could. I explained what happened, and my sister told me that I should have just avoided the question, or told her to talk to them about it, because they were teaching her about religion, which I didn't even know that at the time. Now my sister is upset at me, and thinks I'm an antagonist for not keeping my beliefs, or lack thereof, to myself. Right, this is a kind of a weird one. I can't help but think that this niece of OP's is awfully naive for a 12-year-old. Like, when I was 12, I was already, like, an atheist, but I wasn't raised in a Christian family, and I had free reign on the internet, so I just watched atheist YouTubes all the time, and was like a weirdly militant atheist at 12, but now I've mellowed out. Anyway, that's beside the point. My opinion, OP is not the antagonist. It just, like, OP didn't know that, like, the niece's parents were teaching her about religion. He answered sort of as well as he could, and he supported her in her beliefs and wasn't mean to her about it. And I think the sister, the little girl's mum, is being a little bit unreasonable about it. I think maybe, like, just speculating here, the mum thinks that she can keep her daughter from other people's beliefs, which I think is just going to make her grow up intolerant, and I think the last thing this world needs is more intolerant people. My final judgment, there are sort of no antagonists here, but I think the mother of the little girl could have handled the situation better, and maybe this will open the door to more religious discussion within the family and give the little girl a more rounded religious education. Final judgment, Bender750, you are not the antagonist. So now on to our final story of today. Am I the antagonist for yelling at people who were walking during a fun run by Balls of Jericho? My fiance and I went to a gimmicky 5k fun run this morning. I should note that while I don't run as regularly as I would like, there was a period where I was pretty serious about it. This morning I was just hoping to finish without stopping to rest. I only made it 3/4 of the way. A fun run typically is not timed and encourages people who would like to walk the course as well. This particular 5k has a gimmick that advertises quite well on social media, so the number of people walking at this morning's fun run vastly outnumbered the people running the course. Many of them were playing on their phones and posing for Instagram photos right in the middle of the course. There were walls of people walking, preventing runners from getting through all over the course. I became very impatient with threading my way through the crowd by a half mile into the race. For the rest of the run, any time that I encountered a group of people blocking the entire course, I would loudly yell, "Please move to your right if you are not running!" while keeping as far left as I could. I probably had to yell at least 20 to 30 times, and some people got out of the way, while others were somewhat upset. A few runners started pacing behind me because I was able to punch a hole in the crowd with my shouts. I turned around and loudly said thank you to a handful of people who made absolutely no effort to get out of the way or even walk at all. I understand that this is passive-aggressive, but I feel it is completely neglecting good etiquette to block the path of others at any kind of race, even a gimmicky 5k fun run. So, am I the antagonist? Right, so I think I have a pretty strong opinion about this one. This is a fun run, operative word being fun. It's not for professional runners or like people who take running seriously, and I think it's okay to walk the course, and I think OP was being a little bit antagonisty and sort of passive-aggressive by yelling at people. I understand their frustration at not being able to run the race as they'd like, but when you're in a public setting around sort of a lot of other people, you sort of, like, human interaction 101, you have to be mindful of other people and be mindful of their enjoyment and let them enjoy things without sort of making it all about yourself. So, final judgment here, I'm sorry OP, but you're the antagonist. Like, sorry. So, today we've had one not the antagonist, one no antagonists here, and one you are the antagonist. What a varied show for our first episode. I really hope you've enjoyed this. It would mean a lot to me if you dropped a like and subscribe if you actually did like this. If you didn't, feel free to leave your scathing hate comments. Nothing I can say will stop you making them. I hope to see you next time, unless I get bored of this format, which I probably will. Bye!